presidents to represent me.
Continue.
I'm out for dead, bring over presidents to represent me.
Who wanna bet?
Ow, salute what it is. It's Nocturnal Thoughts, man. I'm gonna do this real quick video, then I'm gonna get out of the way. Jack, I'm tired, man. So I'm gonna just stick to the script and try to make this a 5-minute video. Mark Breland, Deontay Wilder. Who do you believe in? You know what I'm saying? Do you believe in Mark Breland version of the situation? Or do you believe Deontay Wilder's version of the story? Mark Breland says Deontay Wilder was untrainable. Mark Breland says Deontay Wilder would never be able to defeat Tyson Fury. Mark Breland said that Deontay Wilder would come to the gym late and JD's would put a gag order on everybody and say, don't get him in a bad mood. We don't want to lose our jobs. Was Mark Breland just along for the ride? Now, Deontay Wilder says Mark Breland was jealous. That green monster, you know, envy, one of those 7 deadly sins, was envious. He was a snake. He says that Mark Breland took his high quality H2O and gave him a dose of some of that McLovin.
Hey, that's me and him.
Hey! It's you! McMuffin!
Notice?
Therefore, he was like a zombie. He wasn't himself. Everybody could see he was like a zombie. The back and forth, who do you believe? Mark Breland seems to be his character, like he said, people that know me, it's not even worth me explaining. They already know my character, you know, which is to say he has a high caliber, a high level of respect amongst his peers. A lot of people say Deontay Wilder has been making up excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. Let me just cut to it the way I see it, through my eyes, through my lenses, through my perspective. And this is just my perspective, and let me make it very clear that my perspective is still like this. In the world that exists, there's things that can happen outside of my perspective, outside of my logic, outside of my understanding. So just because I believe something to be true or false doesn't make it a fact. If I can gather enough information to come to a conclusion, it does not make that conclusion correct. I think my logic is sensible and within reason, but it doesn't make it fact. Anything is possible. You feel me? So, I feel like the truth is somewhere in the middle of both of their stories. I definitely lean on Mark Breland when he says Deontay Wilder was hard to train, because Deontay Wilder said that he didn't train properly. I thought Deontay Wilder had went back to the drawing board after he had that tough fight against King Kong Luis Ortiz, and a video came out with him jumping the rope, and he said, I need to go back to the basics. I don't know if he detoured or if he got overconfident or if he actually did go back to the basics and stuck with it. Don't know. It doesn't look like it in the grand scheme. It looks like he left from doing the basics and went back to relying on just the right hand. But I have to say, it's not impossible to believe that at a point within their relationship, Mark Breland might have developed some envy towards Deontay Wilder. I'm not saying that that's true or false. I'm saying I personally don't know Mark Breland. But looking into the situation, I would not believe that Mark Breland was envious, but that doesn't make it a fact. I looked into Mark Breland's past, and to me, he seemed like a respectable, humble guy. He has some success, but at the same time, you know, at the end of the day, he's a man. And no man is perfect. And a seed of envy can be planted in any man's soil. So it is possible. I don't think that was the case, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. I don't think that he spiked Deontay Wilder's water. That doesn't mean it's not possible. But I don't believe that Deontay Wilder even believes that he spiked his water. I think Deontay Wilder was out of sorts when he got into the ring because he had LED lights on a mask on his head with a 40-pound suit walking into the ring. And he gets punched in the head for a living. Gets punched in the head for a living. So, I feel like there were issues in the camp that were neglected over time that was being ignored. I feel like as long as they were winning, they kept things status quo. But the issue was revealed after a loss. You know, after the loss, I felt like Mark Breland was used as a scapegoat, and he was ultimately he was terminated because he threw in the towel. See, ultimately, I feel like there were issues on both sides between Mark Breland and Deontay Wilder. There were obvious issues between the two of them that wasn't getting addressed. And I felt like, I look at it like this: if he would have won in that rematch against Tyson Fury, they would have been able to, your brain releases, different endorphins when you're winning. You know what I mean? And if he would have won that fight, no matter if he would have took that same beating, but he ultimately would have found that great equalizer and he would have knocked out Tyson Fury. And your brain would have released all those endorphins and you would have been on cloud 9. Your whole team would have been on cloud 9. Before the fight, I seen Deontay Wilder and Mark Breland embrace. Now, he said that the energy wasn't right for the first fight or the second fight, but I watched you two embrace. I would like to, if I get the time, will go back and look at all of Deontay Wilder's fights and see the energy between him and Mark Breland right before the fight, when they give each other just a little bit more, that last little bit of confidence before they go into the fight, to see if it matches up or looks the same as the love he was giving Mark Breland before that first bell. Because to me, you said you keep your enemies close, your friends close, but you keep your enemies closer. But right before the fight, and you think this guy's an enemy, and you giving him love, I would like to see if the energy looked different between the two of them. But my point is this: after the fight, it's only because you lost that somebody had to get, thrown under the bus. Somebody had to be the scapegoat. Somebody had to be the reason why you lost. And the man threw in the towel. And that's ultimately the reason why things are the way they are now. But say, for example, if you would have won that fight and your whole team would have been celebrating, I'm pretty sure the same issues would still be there to exist, but you would have been able to, both of you guys would, hey man, because all camps are different and difficult. Nobody just goes through camp and everybody relationship is just sprinkles and rainbows and, you know what I'm saying, cotton candy and everything is fine and dandy. I'm pretty sure every camp you have issues. People in close quarters, they spending time together. You deny yourself certain foods. You're supposed to be denying yourself certain foods and train healthy, and you hangry. You know what I'm saying? They got an attitude, and you stressed out. You looking at everything is headed towards this goal. I'm pretty sure there's times where these situations, these relationships, have moments just like any family that get dysfunctional. And when you win, it ultimately repairs all those things for that moment because everything y'all did led to a victory. Versus when everything that happens within a camp leads to a loss, then you got to go back over and nitpick over everything that happened in camp and find out what went wrong here, what went wrong there, what we're gonna do differently from that. See, a great team in a great camp and a great family can take the wins and the losses in stride. But the team and the families that take that L and they fall apart, it lets you know that there were cracks. And you listen to Mark Breland, you can tell there were cracks in the relationship that pre-existed way before the loss. So you got to admit that too. And you got to admit your accountability for that as well. You can't just blame it all on Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder definitely can't just blame it all on Mark Breland. My point is this: if he would have won that fight, they could have talked about the same issues and the same problems in a celebratory way. And, hey man, remember that day I didn't feel like training and I came in that attitude? Yeah, man, dude, I was pissed at you, man. You came in there acting like a diva. You didn't want to work on your jab. You didn't want to do the road work. Yeah, I know, man, my fault. I love you, Mark. I apologize, man. I was stressed out, man. Whoop-de-woo, whoop-de-wop. And then Mark Breland be sitting there with that whispers. You know, man, you got to work on this, man. We got to fix that. But they would have been able to patch up those same cracks in lieu of a victory. In victory, you can look at things and reflect on things in a more positive way. And even all the things that went wrong can be fixed. But when it's an L, when it's a loss, the cookie crumbles. So that's the truth of the matter, is that both of these guys in certain things were wrong and both of these guys were right. My thing is this: if you Deontay Wilder, you can't just focus on where you were right and not focus and address the things that you were wrong about. Like saying this man spiked your water when you got LED lights on your eyes, on the mask, on a costume, 40 pounds walking into the ring. And you can't just focus on what you believe in as far as him throwing in a towel and you want to go out on your shield. And if you Mark Breland, you can't just focus on, oh, he didn't want to train. He had a diva attitude. He didn't work on this. He didn't work on that. Jay Diaz and the whole team created this wedge between us where I couldn't even talk to him. No, you got to take accountability too, especially if you was taking a paycheck. You got to say, I was not doing my job correctly. From one man to another man, from a brother to another brother, you should have been able to find a way to talk to that man like a man and make him see the error in his ways when he was making them all these years. You can't just sit back and then, wait till you lose your job to say, nah, man, he would have never beat Tyson Fury. They both are right and they both are wrong. And I hope in the years to come, they can come back and fix and heal and patch up and repair their friendship because they family. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's so quick to try to keep creating divide and conquer and keep creating this negative atmosphere that's only creating more and more dysfunction and destruction, when what we should be trying to do is find the way to mend and find a bridge and get them back to where they could at least have a level of respect and rapport and love, and look at everything that went right and look at everything that went wrong and still take accountability, responsibility, and share the burden of the loss and celebrate all the victories that you have. And if you decide to part ways the right way, where everybody can walk away with respect and their dignity intact and their reputation intact. And it's not too late for that. Nocturnal thoughts. Who do you believe? What do you believe? One of the key words in believe is lie. And there's the little white lies. You dig what I'm saying? You like how I did that? This is Nocturnal Thoughts, man. Salute, 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 salute. God bless. Be blessed. Less stress. Be peaceful. And just know, man, it's all about respect. It's all about, keeping things as solid as possible. For real. Straight like that. New to the channel, find the subscribe button and click it. You know what I mean? Notification bell, click that too. Thumbs up, click that too. And then leave me a comment.